Before starting my presentation, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about what web rendering is, or how did I even approach the topic web rendering, right? So you might have seen like a very good UI animated website, or you might have seen a particular card, where you can just hover to that card and the card starts flipping, right? And you might have thought something like about all the developers like अरे ये कैसे बन रहा है ये कैसे हो रहा है right. All of these tasks and all of these flipping of the animations, so these can be done in the back end part of the compilation of the web rendering, right? So just giving my a brief introduction. My name is Uttam Kini, and currently I'm going through my training in tech stack, in the Flutter tech stack. And yeah, so let's start about the Flutter Web Renderers, right? So what I'm going to do for the today's agenda is that first I'm going to define these renderers, and then I'm going to make a brief performance comparisons between these two renderers. After that, I'll just take you to a term called as an LCP, largest contentful paint, and after that, I'm going to tell you about the analysis, and after that, we'll make a conclusion, or like which one are we really going to choose, whether we are going to do it with the HTML or whether we can go to the CanvasKit, right? Okay, before defining these renderers, let me just go through the Flutter web. So what does my Flutter web renderer document says? All right. Let me just zoom it out a little bit. Yeah. So you can see in the Flutter web renderers, the documentation, they have two types of rendering. One is the HTML renderer, and the second one is nothing but a CanvasKit renderer, right? So, and you also have an option how to enable these renderers in the runtime configurations and also in the command line options. So we'll see all of that. So as I told you, like there are two types of renderers. One is the HTML and other one is nothing but a CanvasKit, right? As you can see, when I was in the Flutter training and I was looking at the architecture of the Flutter web, so at the bottom edge, there was something called as a WebGL, and there is something called as a CanvasKit. So as you can know, as you can see in the Flutter web, so whenever a Flutter app is being compiled, it's being taken as a Skia. So Skia is you can say it as a backend part, where Skia will actually take an image and it is going to display it in the screen, right? In the Flutter web, it actually runs in the same way. But for the rendering part, there are actually two types of renderers. One is the HTML, and the other one is nothing but a CanvasKit, right? So as you can know, the normal, the HTML, so it is uses something called as a canvas APIs, right? So it is going to call those APIs and it is going to fetch them, and then it is going to display it on the white screen. But for the CanvasKit, it uses something called as a Skia web rendering. So what does it do is it doesn't call any APIs. So it calls the Skia thing, where the Skia has the graphic stacks, right? So it is going to call one by one and it is going to display it in your screen. So these are two types of renderers. So which one should you choose? Should you go with HTML or should you go with the CanvasKit? So how can I get started with these renderers, right? Okay, you have I have told you that okay, you have two types of renderers. So what does Flutter actually give you? So as you can see, if you go through my Flutter web renderers documentation, and if you just point out the three major things, one is nothing but okay. Let me just change my color. So here you can see there is an auto, there is an HTML, and there is nothing but a CanvasKit, right? So just a second. Yeah. So as you can see, in the command line applications, we have basically three types of options to enable it. First is nothing called as an auto. The second one is nothing but an HTML, and the third one is the CanvasKit. So as you can see, auto by default, if you give auto as an option, whenever you're going to testing out your applications or whenever you're running your applications, what Flutter does it will automatically choose like which type of renderer you want. Let us say that you are in the desktop, then the Flutter will automatically choose as a CanvasKit. So if you are in the web, let us say mobile application, then the Flutter will going to actually choose the HTML as a web rendering. Okay, now after the auto, let us say that I only want an HTML or I only want an CanvasKit. So you can do that by running these commands. That is nothing but the Flutter run minus g chrome. And in the web renderer, we have the HTML. And for the CanvasKit, we can just replace the HTML with the CanvasKit name. So these are the some things that we need to know. So let us say that I have built my applications, right? So everything is being done. You have created a UI. Now let us say that how do you do it in the production level? So in the production level, you have something called as a script tag in the JS. So where you can add these set of codes, right? So you can go to your build folder in the Flutter, and in the build folder you have the web folder where you have the index HTML. I'm going to show you that. So in that HTML file, you can just add this script tag, right? Okay, so okay, I have told you about that. I need to, there are two types of rendering. So how can I compare these two renderings? So for this particular talk, I have created two basic websites. So one is about the CanvasKit, and the other one is nothing but a HTML. All right. So here you can see that in the URL, I have mentioned it as an HTML, saying that this basic application is being rendered out in HTML. And if I show you this web application where you can see it is in Canvas, so it means that it is running on the Canvas rendering, right? So the basic application includes a video, all right, a normal video where the video is being fetched from the YouTube URL, and there is a small content page where the images are being fetched from the Unsplash, and it is going to just render it out, all right. Okay, now this is the basic website that I have built for the comparisons. So let us say that let us compare these two web renderers. First one is we'll first compare the HTML renderer, then we'll go with the CanvasKit renderer, and then we'll figure it out. Okay, which one is actually better for us? So to actually compare these two websites, what we are going to use is just going to copy this URL, that is the HTML website, and I'm going to run in the incognito mode. So in the incognito mode, okay, incognito mode, I'll just paste it out, and this is my website, right? So how I'm actually going to measure the SEO of the website, how I'm actually going to do that. So for that, what I'm going to do is just going to inspect, and in inspect we have something called as a Chrome Lighthouse. So in the Chrome Lighthouse, what does it do is actually it is going to uh, you know take out all of the buffering speeds, all of the the visualization, how the canvas is being painted, all of that, and it will give me an average score. So let me just analyze this page. I'm going to choose a default option that is desktop and analyze page load. So it is going to analyze my page. It's taking a bit of time. Yeah. So as you can see, oh wait a second. Yeah. So this is my SEO score. So the Chrome Lighthouse has given me an SEO score of 90, right? And if you just go down a little bit, you can see there are basically a various type of terminologies that Chrome Lighthouse has given us. The first thing is the first contentful paint, and the second thing is nothing but the largest contentful paint. All right, the contentful paint is nothing but you take an image and you display it to the white canvas, and the time taken is what it is being displayed here. So the HTML has taken us 1 second, and even for the largest contentful paint it has taken 1 second. So about the largest contentful paint, I'll tell you later. Okay, so this is about my HTML, right? So HTML has given me SEO score of 100, a performance score of 96. Now let us figure it out in the CanvasKit. So this is my CanvasKit web application. Just going to copy them out. All right, so let us run in the incognito mode. So I'm going to use the same procedure. I'm going to go to the inspect, I'm going to the lighthouse, and I'm going to analyze the page load. So it's taking a bit of time. Oh, so there is an error. So for the inspect, when you're going to inspect and when we run the lighthouse for the canvas, I got an error. So let's see what this error is actually. So here you can see that for the HTML page, the first contentful paint was 1 second. But for the canvas kit, it has given us 0.6 seconds. And but for the largest contentful paint, it has given me an error, right? That's a little bit strange. You know, even the content is being there in the website, but the largest contentful paint is not able to figure it out, and it's just giving us an error. Okay, that's one part of a downfall in if you choose CanvasKit as a web rendering. So if I take my next slide, okay, so let us take that this is my blank canvas, right? So in this blank canvas, let us take this as an my website. So this is my first website. Nothing is loaded out. There is no fonts. There is no image. There is no video at all, right? So let us say that I'm going to take a timer, a small timer, right? Then let us say that I'm going to draw a stick man. So let's start the timer, and I'm going to bring a pencil, and I'm just going to draw a small little cute stick man. Okay, so let us give him some hair or something like that. Doesn't look good. So okay, so let us take the time. So here you can see in the timer, it has taken me 20 seconds, right? So the same thing, even for your Dart compilation or any other compiler, there is a minimum time that the compiler will take to display all of your images or all of your animations, right? So in here, it has taken me 20 seconds. But for the HTML, it has taken 1 second. And for the Canvas kit, it has taken 0.6 seconds, right? So let me just clear the stickman. Bye bye. So if I go through my next slideshow, I want to talk about something called as a largest contentful paint, right? So if you remember, in the CanvasKit web rendering, it has given me an error, right? So why this error has majorly been causing us? So if I just go through my documentation of the largest contentful paint, so here they have mentioned something called as what elements are to be considered, right? So there are like the image elements, there are the image elements inside an SVG tag, and there is a video elements. So these are all the tags which are present in the index HTML file. But if I open my VS Code, uh, where it is, just give me a second. Yeah, okay. So if I just open my VS Code, right? So in the VS Code, I'm going to my build folder. In the build folder, I'm going through my web folder, where you can see we have a index HTML file, right? But in the index HTML file, you can see that if I just search it out, let us search. Yeah, so let us search something called image tag. No, I'm not able to find. So let us search video tag. No. So there are no particular tags that largest contentful paint can actually track them, right? So how does the Flutter is actually, rendering these out? So what they're doing is actually, so all of these images are nothing but byte coded. So there are a lot of informations. You can see there are like the characters a, and there is a dollar. So all of these are like byte coded to the images. So that is the reason, our the Flutter Web Renderer, when I'm going to test it out, it is giving me a largest contentful error. That is one downside of the using the Canvas kit as a web rendering. So how does the largest contentful paint actually work? So here, if we, let us see that in my Google search engine, I'm going to type something called as a Larry page, and you can see the content. The first content is nothing but a Larry page, which is being loaded out, and the second one is nothing but it is going to track which is the largest content among all of the other contents, right? So in the first screen, you can see the Larry page was the smallest content. In the second screen, you can see the Larry page when compared it to the paragraph content, it is actually very small. So the largest contentful paint will track the paragraph, right? So if you go to the next slide, here you can see how the largest contentful paint actually changes its content. So on the first page, it was an actually header tag. On, let us say, on the third screen, it actually went to the heading of the actual app, and on the last screen, you can see it has tracked the images, right? So the largest contentful paint is nothing but whichever is the largest content, I'm going to track them out and I'm going to display them in the screen. So that time is nothing but the CanvasKit is not able to render it out. So what are the results? So what can I conclude by comparing these two web renderings? So first thing is nothing but first contentful paint for the CanvasKit 0.6 seconds, HTML 0.6 seconds, and time to interactive. So that is basically how the user is interacting for the website. So CanvasKit has given me 0.7 seconds, HTML has given me 0.6 seconds, and the speed index 1.6 seconds, 2.9 seconds. But for the largest contentful paint, the CanvasKit was able to give me an error, and the HTML it has taken 1 seconds. But you can see that the SEO score are basically similar. So, before going to then in depth of okay, now you are telling me that there is a largest contentful paint and there is an HTML. So I'm still a little bit confused. So let us test these two websites in the performance insights. All right. So if I go to my performance insights, and performance insight is basically it what it does is it's going to buffer your entire website, right? So I'm just going to keep all of the default settings and I'm going to use the measure page load. And here you can see that it gives me something like a buffer used, and it's going to receive a data. So if you see this data, and if I just scroll them out, just zoom it out a little bit. Yeah. So you can see how there are like a lot of gaps in between. So if you can see here on the after the 80 milliseconds to the 120 milliseconds, there is a lot of gap on the network too. And if you can see, there are a lot of gray areas. So gray areas are nothing but there is a lot of rendering on behind the scenes. But let us take an example of HTML and let us run the performance insights. And it's taking a lot of time. So it's receiving the data. Okay. So in here, you can see that, okay, just a second. Yeah. So in here, you can see that there are no gaps and the gaps are not filled by any other processes, right? So also in the HTML tag, you can see the largest contentful paint took around 1.39 seconds, whereas the canvas kit, there is no rendering it out. So there is no seconds for the largest contentful paint at all. So let us say that if I'm running this test once again, will it give me an error? I don't know. Let's see. So again, it has taken 0.42 seconds. And if I do it once again, okay, 0.36 seconds. So you can see that it has, and on an average, it has taken like around 1 second. But let us try it out for the HTML. Okay, sorry, this is a canvas kit. So this is my HTML, and let us try to do the measuring page load. Okay, 0.27 seconds, which is actually better than the canvas kit. Let's try it out once more. Okay, 0.18 seconds. I mean, imagine the content is being loaded, right? So you just open an app and the content is right there for you. So that is one of the advantage of using the HTML over the canvas kit. So these are the the results that I have run in when I was writing an article. So here you can see that for the canvas kit, it has taken me 2 seconds. Why? Because my network speed was not good too. So on an average, my network speed was around 10 MB per second, right? So for the 10 MB per second, you can see it has given me a 2 seconds of rendering time. And if you go to the HTML, it has given me 1.5 seconds, or it can be also go lower than that too. Okay, so let us compare with a little bit of graph. So these are the tests that I have taken while I was writing an article, and this is what I had found. So let us say that I'm creating a website and I'm going to choose HTML as a web rendering. So on an average, it was around 2.5 seconds, right? So there was an 4.3 seconds, which is actually a very bit late, and there's a 3.59 seconds. But you can see the minimum was around 2 seconds, right? 2 seconds is actually good to load the content. But if you take the CanvasKit in the Flutter web rendering, and it has taken a time of 21 seconds. 21 second is actually a lot of time, and 13 seconds, 10 seconds. So this is nowhere compared to the HTML, right? But why do people even actually use CanvasKit? What's an idea behind? And why did Flutter web rendering even choose CanvasKit as a default animations? So if you see the websites that are being built today, and if you compare it with the 90s website, right? So the 90s website was not a lot of UI, not a lot of content. So it was just a username, or just a normal paragraph tag, or something like there is an image, but there was no decoration of the images, or there was no styling of the tags. But if you compare it right now, our website are a lot or lot of UI kind of feeling. There is an animations, and there is something called as a custom shaders, right? So if you can see, if you have played a game like Minecraft or something, so there is like ray shadowing, and there is a lot of graphical visualizations, and there is a paragraph tags and paragraph shaping too. So due to this, Flutter is very good with using the CanvasKit as a web rendering. So if I want to showcase you that, so let us take my VS Code. So in the VS Code now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to my main dot, right? So in the main dot, it's just a navigation router and an initial page. So let us try to run this application using the HTML. All right. So in this, there is an UI I have already created. In the home page, what I have given is I have added a small animation to it. So if you see my presentation slide, yeah, so this UI I have added it to my website, and we'll try to run it with the HTML as a rendering option. All right. So VS Code, yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type it as a Flutter run minus D Chrome, and I'm going to choose HTML as a default option. So let us try to run that. It's taking a little bit of time. Okay, so 14 seconds. Okay, so if you can see my screen, you will not be able to see the animations at all, right? But in the video tag, okay, so in the video tag, content tag, just a second. And that's a downfall of using one of the HTML as a rendering tag, right? So the reason I wanted to show you this, because I have just added an animation, a simple animation, and what happened was the Flutter is not able to figure it out. There is nothing over here. There's a video content, everything is gone. So let us stop this application, and let us try to run it with the CanvasKit. Let me just close this tag. So if I'm going to run it on the CanvasKit, uh, it'll take a little bit of time. but there will be an animation content. Okay. Yeah. So here you can see, okay, there is a home, and you can also see the animation, right? You can also see the video content, and you can also see the image tags, right? So that is why people will actually prefer going through the CanvasKit as a web rendering than the HTML. So coming to the end of the talk, so what you guys want to know, and what I have come through while I'm going through the training, while I have tested these things out. So these are the things that I have found out, right? So let us say that you are building a web application and your focus is just on the content and the time you are taking to deliver the content to the user. Then it's actually better to go with an HTML than the CanvasKit. But let us say that your web application is more on the UI. Let us say that you have a lot of UI, you have a lot of animations, you have the custom shaders, then you have the paragraph shaping and lot of contents. So then it's actually better to go with the Canvas kit. So if you don't know what to choose in between, what you can do is you can let Flutter choose in between. So Flutter will actually give you an option called as an auto tag, which I've actually showed you on the second slide. So where it will actually render automatically depending on the platform, whether it is a desktop or whether it is an mobile application. So that's it from my side. Thank you for attending the talk. Bye bye.